Okay, now we have all of our colours mixed up. We'll just go through them quickly for you. This is the Interference Red, Pearlex by Jacquard. This is the Solar Gold, again Pearlex by Jacquard. We have the Interference Blue, which is personally one of my favourites, by Jacquard, Pearlex. And now these three are opaque, these three are semi-transparent, and we have our opaque Fun Fuchsia Crafters Acrylic from the dollar store. And then we have our Prism Violet Liquitex Soft Body Acrylic. And also our Fluorescent Blue Liquitex Soft Body Acrylic. So those are our colours. Our pillow, and what is a pillow? Our pillow paint is the thin-ish layer of paint we put down on the canvas first as a background to our colours to make them stand out. I use from Sherwin-Williams Colour to Go. These little pots run around about $10 a go or so, but if you open an account with them, they will be considerably cheaper. So I use this Colour to Go, and it is tricorn black. Now let's move on to our cell activator. What is a cell activator? The cell activator is a mixture of Zinsser is the company that makes this, and it's their latex extender. It's similar to floetrol, but this is very much a liquid, where the floetrol is very much thicker. But our cell activator are equal parts of the Zinsser latex extender, our floetrol, and our semi-gloss clear base acrylic. We mix equal parts with that, with 1 part paint. And for those of you in the UK and that are old enough to remember Blue Peter, here's one I made earlier. And as you can see, the consistency of the cell activator, if you can see that, I'm not sure, I'm trying to see. The consistency of the cell activator is slightly thinner than our colours, okay? Now, that's our cell activator, and obviously it's black. I use Amsterdam acrylic standard series, and this is lamp black. Now there's lots of debate as to why we use Amsterdam. There just seems to be something in it that really creates beautiful cells and works very well with the mixture of the Zinsser, the floetrol, and the clear base. And we mix it all up together, 1 to 1 to 1. Excellent. Okay, moving on to the next bit. Now, I always have a wet rag on hand with a fantastic cleaner. Again, I should be sponsored. This is made by a company called Dynamic. This product is called Chomp. It's a universal cleaner and degreaser. It's orange oil, based on orange oil. It's totally non-toxic. It's biodegradable, non-abrasive, and the best thing about it is it eats acrylic or latex paint for breakfast. So used neat, this can take out from your clothes, or mixed 50-50 in a spray bottle. I spray it on my rag here, which is what I use, and I keep just to the side to keep my hands clean and keep my workspace clean, because I'm one of these people that is a bit of a clean freak. Okay, I'm now going to go and get our spinner and our canvas, and we're going to move on to the next bit. Okay, so what we have here is just a real cheap as chips plastic cake spinner from Amazon, and as you can see, I've stuck it onto a 20-inch square piece of fiberboard as a surface, and it works quite well. Okay, so preparation of canvas and things like that. We have a 16 by 16 inch canvas that I got from the dollar store. Pretty affordable, just a few bucks. The only thing you need to do to prepare the canvas is spray the back with some water. What that will do is give a nice tension to the canvas and will allow the paint to evenly evenly slide off when we spin it, and not too much will stay in the middle and possibly cause cracking. So what we do is we just generously spray it with water, and that's it. Okay, so here is one that I sprayed earlier. The way I mount it to the actual board is with a little piece of this blue sticky tack, I guess you call it. In England we call it blue tack, but just a small amount, a little tiny ball on each corner will help the canvas just to sit nicely on the spinner and secure it, because we don't want it to come off whilst we are spinning. Okay, now this is fairly easy because of the size of the canvas. It's 16 inch as I mentioned, and the board is 20 by 20, so the way we line it up nicely so we can make sure it's exactly in the middle is to line up the 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. Make sure that line is nice and true. Same on this side. Excellent, and we're ready to go. So as I said, we were using our Colour to Go from Sherwin-Williams. Now this isn't 2 feet by 3 feet. I thought it would be better just to show you on a smaller canvas to begin with before we jump straight into the larger stuff. So on the larger stuff, on 2 feet by 3 feet, 24 inches by 36, I would use at least the whole of this. Now this is a quarter gallon, 865 millilitres. I would use all of this to do a 2 by 3 foot. This is 16 by 16, so we're talking about just over 1 square feet. So really all we're going to use of this is a fifth of this, or maybe at the most a quarter of this, because that's all you need. We don't need to waste paint. As we said, these are quite expensive, and let's get as much enjoyment out of this as possible. So I'm going to put my pillow down. Always a good idea to have a craft knife and a little piece of paper handy to the side, just to catch any dry bits of paint or any lumps that are in there, because you'll see them as they pour out. Okay, so nice and generous in the middle, and I just like pouring a nice circle. Again, wipe the edge, let's save the paint. So we have a nice circle of paint in there. As we said, we used about 1/3 to 1/4. So what I like to do is just to move it around, make sure it's all moving as one. And actually, you know, I've seen a couple of little lumps in there already. That's one. Let's get him out of there. There's another here. Get them out of there. And I'm going to put down just a drop more paint. Because if there's one thing we've learned, well, I've learned, I want to be economical with my paint, but also don't be stingy with the pillow paint, because if you haven't put enough down, when we go to spin or tilt the piece, it won't move, and we'll be really regretting what we've done. Okay, so I like to tip it to one corner, just stop, tip it back to this corner, now it's important to tip it back into the middle. If you've got a reflection of a light on the ceiling, which is great, you can tell when the majority of the paint is back into the middle, because now we want to tip it this way. And now the last way. Okay, excellent. Now let's just tip it back into the middle, so we know the layer of paint is nice and even. Found another one in there. And of course, I noticed that there's little lumps in it because of the reflection of the light I have on my ceiling. That's what you need to look for for these little lumps, because we don't want them in their piece, because when it dries they'll still be little lumps. Okay, with our palette knife we just want to smooth the paint out to the edges so it's just nice and even everywhere. So again, so when we spin it, it all moves nicely and evenly in every direction, because if we have too much paint on one side, that one side will move more than the other sides when we spin it. Okay, excellent. Now, just leave that on the side there. Now the exciting part. Now remember guys, I need to also remember I get very excited at this part and sometimes put down too much paint, because we want a nice even mix of negative space with colour. So I like just to take a minute and take a deep breath before going too crazy with the colours. So I'm going to do a stripe of colour, as you're going to see. I'm going to stop short of the edges, because when we spin this, a lot of the paint is going to actually come off. So we don't need to put too much of the colours at the edge, because they're just going to be totally wasted. Okay, so we are going to start with our solar gold, and I'm just going to use probably about an ounce and a half of it. Okay, there we go. Now, the secret to getting really nice cells and really nice coloured cells, and what they call peacock cells, is colours within colours, is to layer your opaque and your transparent paints. So we have a transparent right down there now. Now we're going to move to the fun fuchsia, and we're going to put about maybe half an ounce, 3/4 of an ounce of paint down, because we want a nice mix of the gold and the pink, or the fuchsia. Now we're going to use the Liquid-X Prism Violet, which is transparent. We're going to pour that just on top. Again, each time we put more colour down, we put slightly less down each time, because otherwise you run the risk of the last colours you're putting down really overtaking and ruining the piece. Okay, now we have the Fluorescent Blue by Liquid-X Soft Body. And that was barely half an ounce of paint, I should think, I put down. Now for the really fun part. There's lots of really fun parts, but I seriously enjoy this part. This is the interference red. Now I put interference red on one side and interference blue on the other side. So you just want to put down a nice generous 3/4 of an ounce to an ounce of it, I would guess. So the red on one side and the interference blue on the other side. Okay. Now the style that the picture was a pre-swoosh blow. So what we do is we actually blow the colours over each other and out before we put a cell activator on our implement and do the actual swipe. So what I'm going to do now is blow out the red. And that's what gives you the nice smoky effect. We spin it round, we're going to blow out the blue the same way. Okay, now I'm just going to pause the video for 1 second